Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Lufthansa 747 First Class Experience. Today's journey starts in the Lufthansa First Class Terminal. That's right, I said terminal, not lounge. If you're flying first class out of Frankfurt, you don't even have to go to the main airport. You come here instead, a separate facility that's dedicated to serving only Lufthansa's most elite flyers. And this place is really cool. It has everything that you'd expect from a top-tier lounge. Comfy leather seats, cozy rest areas, workspaces to do business, and sparkling bathrooms to also do business. They also have some quirky amenities like bathtubs, a cigar lounge, and a massive bar stocked with wines, spirits, and champagnes. Now, it's 7 a.m., so I'm more interested in breakfast than a glass of bubbly. So I beeline straight to the in-house restaurant, which also has a few quirks. May I interest you in a donut off the wall? Or how about a pretzel off the wall? Surely you'd like some honey straight from the honeycomb, right? You have two different dining options when visiting this space. You can serve yourself from this extensive buffet, or you can order off the a la carte menu. I opt to do the latter, choosing an Eggs Benedict, oatmeal, and some tea. But as delicious as this food is, ordering it was a mistake. You see, something I didn't realize about flying first class is that they will not stop feeding you once you step on board the plane. And I really should have been saving my appetite for the in-flight meals, but more on that in a second. As I chow down, one of the attendants comes over and gives me this, a famed Lufthansa rubber duck. Lufthansa has been gifting these to visitors of this first-class terminal ever since it opened in 2004. And since it's the only place on Earth you can get them, they've become a hot collector's item. Some even sell on eBay for well over $100. Now, since this terminal is separate from the rest of the airport, the boarding process looks a little bit different. I'm escorted out of the terminal and to a nearby carport, where a van awaits to take me to my plane. Now, from what I've heard, Lufthansa usually drives you over in a Porsche, not a van. Now, I naturally feel a twinge of disappointment for missing out on this swankier ride. But the second we pull out of the carport and onto the ramp, I'm treated to some incredible up-close views of gigantic planes, and that disappointment quickly washes away. Ah, there she is, today's ride. And boy did I luck out. I'm flying Yankee Tango, the newest 747 in Lufthansa's fleet, which also rocks this spiffy retro livery. But as cool as she looks on the outside, I'm more interested in how she looks on the inside. So how about we step aboard and see what it's like inside this beast. Welcome to first class on the legendary Boeing 747. This, my friends, is special. While the cabin itself is airy and spacious, it seats just 8 passengers, giving each person a whopping 83 inches of legroom and 31 inches of seat width. Waiting at my seat is a glass of champagne, a plate of warm scented towels, and of course, Lufthansa's signature red rose. Before I get a real chance to settle in and look around, we're already pushing back for Houston. Now, I don't know about you, but I've heard that flying in the nose of the 747 is incredibly quiet. After all, you are way in front of those massive engines. And while that's certainly the case during cruise, it's absolutely not the case during taxi and takeoff. The first class cabin sits directly atop the nose gear, and boy does it make a lot of noise while you rumble down the runway. It's so loud that for a moment, I'm legitimately concerned there's something wrong with the plane. But the second we're airborne and the gear is stowed, the cabin becomes dead silent, with my decibel reader giving me the noise equivalent of a quiet street. Another unexpected part of flying in the nose is just how bumpy the ride can be. There were a few times during the flight where I thought for sure the captain would turn on the seatbelt sign, but he didn't. I later took a stroll down the plane to stretch my legs and realized that the turbulence is way less noticeable in the back. I mean, I guess it makes sense. The nose feels more bumpy because it's taking the brunt of the oncoming airflow. I personally don't find this too bothersome, but it is worth noting. But these quirks aside, the 747's nose is a lovely place to be. Its cozy mood lighting, combined with tall ceilings and elegant furnishings, make it feel both expansive and intimate at the same time. This is a very cozy place to spend your flight. Of course, flying in the nose is not cheap, and if you want to fly it yourself, you're gonna need to be really good at budgeting. Luckily, today's sponsor, Rocket Money, can help with exactly that. In short, Rocket Money is a personal finance app. They can help you better manage your money and cancel unwanted or hidden subscriptions. The platform is even capable of negotiating bills on your behalf, which can help save on things like cable, phone, and internet. On average, Rocket Money members save about $720 a year, and so far, they've canceled over $500 million in unwanted subscriptions. It's no wonder then that they have over 5 million users. Personally, I'm using Rocket Money to set budgets, analyze my spending habits, and improve my financial hygiene, so I can take more awesome flights just like this. And if you go to rocketmoney.com/KobeExplains, or visit the link in the description, you can also start doing the same with a free trial. So give Rocket Money a shot. Doing so can help you save some serious money, while also helping to support my work. Once we reach 10,000 feet, the crew of two springs into action and begins to prepare our feast. And when I say feast, I mean feast. The post-departure meal consists of 5 full courses and 10 different dishes, which is more food than I've ever been served in business class. So with so much food to review, let's do a little speed run, shall we? First up, we have a selection of breads, dips, and what I think is foie gras. The bread was warm and fresh and paired excellently with the meat. This gets an 8 out of 10. Next up, we've got caviar, served with toast and a lime. Alongside it comes this egg dish with sour cream. The caviar is extremely high quality, but I can do without the egg. 9 out of 10. Course 3 is a selection of small plates, including sous vide chicken, carrot rolls, salmon tataki, and a baby leaf salad. While this is the prettiest course of the bunch, it's unfortunately the least appetizing. This will get a 6 out of 10. Next, we have the main. I opt for the halibut, knowing full well that ordering fish on a plane can be risky, but I'm pleased to report it was buttery, lemony, and downright delicious. Paired with cauliflower and spinach, this was a hearty and tasty 9 out of 10. Finally, we have dessert, and this mango mousse was a real treat. Even though I am stuffed by this point, I still finished the whole thing. 10 out of 10. Oh, and I should also mention that throughout the entirety of this meal, the alcohol was flowing. Lufthansa has an impressive selection of wines on board, some of which go for hundreds of dollars a bottle, and I made sure to take full advantage. Now that I'm firmly buzzed and beset by a serious food coma, I decide to get comfy and settle into my seat for the 10-hour ride. Speaking of the seat, let's talk about it, because it's become a bit controversial. In a world where many airlines are now offering private suites in not just first class, but also in business, this offering feels a little bit dated. After all, the raisable partition doesn't offer the same level of privacy as having your own dedicated pod. But honestly, I just don't think it's that big a deal. The nose of the 747 is so intimate and experiences such little foot traffic that it feels exceedingly private no matter what. The bigger issue here is with the in-flight entertainment. Now, don't get me wrong, The selection of movies and TV shows is excellent, and the external cameras are certainly fun. But the screen is small and doesn't get very bright, and while the provided headphones sound good, I can tell that they've seen better days. For now, I decide not to watch TV, instead opting to read a book. If literature isn't quite your thing, you can also log on to the speedy Wi-Fi, which is free of charge for those in first. If none of those activities suit your fancy, well, you can always gaze out upon the stunning landscapes passing below. Now, I don't know about you, but I am absolutely not a morning person. So waking up at 5:30 for this flight was absolutely brutal, but it also gave me a great excuse to take a nap and try out the bed. In first class, the flight attendants will make your bed for you. So while they do that, I grab my Lufthansa provided pajamas and head to the Lav to change. The Lav itself is both large and pristine, about 3 times the size of a normal aircraft washroom. It's also really well stocked, with creams, lotions, razors, mouthwash, and of course it's adorned with another red rose. If you're wondering where things like combs and toothbrushes are, well, they come in this swanky and eco-friendly amenity kit, which also has socks, a shoehorn, and this unique Porsche branded eye mask. Now that I'm changed into my pajamas, which are incredibly comfortable by the way, I head back to my seat where my bed is being made. Now, say what you will about this seat, but there is no denying that it's exceedingly well suited for sleep. Not only is the seat long, wide, and comfortable, but unlike most beds in business class, your legs and feet aren't cramped into a small cubby-like space. The accompanying mattress pad, comforter, and pillow are all plush, and within moments of my head hitting the pillow, I'm out like a light. After a solid 90 minutes of shut-eye, aided by the 747's uber-quiet cabin, I awake to find a pot of green tea and berries at my seat, both of which I told the crew I was interested in before nodding off. A note on the crew: they are simply exceptional. Not only do they anticipate your needs like they did here, but they address you by name during each and every interaction, which is such a nice personal touch. I've had some pretty awesome crews flying in business class before, but none have come close to this level of personalized service. With about 2 hours to go to Houston, I let the crew know that I'm ready for another meal. This is another big difference between flying business and first. Instead of having fixed meal times, you can dine on demand, eating pretty much whatever you want, whenever you want to. This time around, I opt for a modest 3-course meal instead of 5. I start things off with the Oriental Mezz, which includes hummus, tabbouleh, and muhammara. And I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, this looks way better than it tastes. Luckily, the following course, which is truffle pasta, is the best thing I had throughout the entire flight, and the chocolate cheesecake that comes shortly thereafter is also fantastic. With time ticking down to touchdown, I start to gather my thoughts on this whole experience. Is this the most modern first class seat in the world? Well, no. Let me ask you this. Is the seat itself the real reason that you fly first class? I would contend also no. You fly first class to be treated like royalty, and Lufthansa does an excellent job of making that happen. From having your own terminal, to being chauffeured to your plane, to being addressed by name, to eating caviar and sipping $200 champagne, this is a luxurious experience through and through. And that experience is elevated by the 747, which is arguably the most unique and undeniably the most iconic plane in the sky. Sure, you could wait for Lufthansa to outfit their 747s with their new Allegris cabin product, which is sure to be a showstopper. But even if you choose to fly a Lufthansa 747 today, I highly doubt that you'll be disappointed. So you might be wondering how exactly I paid for my ticket. Well, full disclosure, I recently partnered with Lufthansa on a video that explains why they won't retire their 747s. I'll leave a link to that video in the description. And as part of that project, they flew me out to Frankfurt in business class, so this fare was partially comped. However, I still paid for my upgrade from business to first, which was about $3,000 out of pocket. And importantly, Lufthansa had no editorial oversight of this review. All of these thoughts and opinions are my own. Of course, paying for this upgrade would not have been possible without the support of my Patreon crew. So if you like what I do and want to help the channel grow, please consider checking out my Patreon yourself. And as always, if you learned something new today, leave a like and subscribe to keep learning. And until I see you again, don't forget to look up.